Hello everyone. In our previous classes we have discussed about different types of low dimensional semiconductor structures like a quantum well wire, quantum dot, etc. But today we are going to study about superlattice. So what actually is superlattice? So you can divide this word into two parts. One is super and another one is lattice. We know that in condensed matter physics, lattice denotes the periodicity. So lattice is nothing but three-dimensional array of points or the lattice points which denote the position of atoms or molecules or ions. So why we need this lattice? In order to understand the periodicity of the crystal. And what actually is a superlattice in low dimensional semiconductor structure? Let us understand. So this superlattice is a periodic structure of layers of two or more materials. So these materials are again semiconductors because we are studying it under the heading of low dimensional semiconductor structures. And the thickness of any one layer will be of several nanometers. So it is quantum mechanical regime because it is low dimensional structure. And it can also be said as array of quantum dots, quantum wires or quantum well. So it is something like a combination where we can understand about the periodicity of these structures. So a superlattice is a periodic structure consisting of alternating ultra thin layers of two different semiconductor materials having different band gaps. So the criteria is the two different semiconductors have to be involved because then only we can get quantum well, quantum wire or quantum dot. Otherwise, such structures are not possible. So this we have already studied. That is, if we need to get quantum well, then we need to sandwich a lower bandgap semiconductor material in between the semiconductor which is having higher bandgap so that electron trap is set, which is called as quantum well. Again here also the same thing, we need the material having different band gaps and the layers are ultra thin. So their thickness is going to vary in the range of nanometer scale, and this is a periodic structure. So it is going to continue alternatingly. So different layers of different band gap semiconductors with thickness of nanometers which is repeated periodically give us a superlattice. So by altering the thickness, composition or doping of these layers, many properties of resulting structure can be obtained. Again, here we need to just depend on the thickness of the layer which is involved, and that can be changed by composition or constituents as well as by adding the impurities, that is done by doping method. And such a superlattice structure was first invented by Isaki and Su in the year 1970. And using the growth techniques such as MBE, that is molecular beam epitaxy, it has become possible to fabricate superlattice structures with interfacial and dimensional control, particularly in the lattice matched case of gallium arsenide or aluminium gallium arsenide heterojunction. So generally whenever we take the ideal example for understanding about these low dimensional semiconductor structures, it is gallium arsenide with aluminium gallium arsenide, where gallium arsenide is having a lower band gap when compared to aluminium gallium arsenide, due to which quantum well is formed. So these structures can be grown using the technique of MBE, that is molecular beam epitaxy, and using that the interfacial and dimensional control can be done based on which the properties are going to change. Moving further, the different properties. In a superlattice, which is essentially a multi-quantum well structure. Multi-quantum well means more than one quantum well is involved, because when you are considering a periodic nature, we can't say that only single quantum well is present. So if you just observe here, we are having multiple quantum well structure. In that case, the barrier layers are so thin that it is of the range approximately equal to 40 angstrom. Their wave functions of the carriers in the neighboring quantum wells are going to overlap significantly as shown here. So here we can observe the quantum well. So this part is representing the semiconductor with greater band gap, and in between it is a quantum well which is produced due to the lower band gap semiconductor. So in detail it is already explained in our previous class. You can just go through it. And here when you are forming a superlattice means you are using multiple quantum well structure. So here it is one quantum well, second quantum well, third quantum well, fourth quantum well. So if you are going to consider that multiple quantum wells, then in this wave functions which we are going to denote are going to overlap. So if this is one wave function denoted by the yellow line, then another wave function corresponding to next quantum well, they are going to overlap. So that is the main feature of superlattice when we consider multiple quantum well structure. Then coming to the types of that is superlattice. So based on two things. First one is composition and second one is doping of the layers. That is, there are different types of superlattices depending on these two parameters. One is composition, means using which type of semiconducting materials we have obtained the superlattice or quantum well, and second one is depending on the impurities added in the ultra thin layers. And the compositional superlattices may be again further classified broadly into two types. First one is type 1 superlattice and second one is type 2 superlattice. So what are these two? Let us study. So type 1 superlattice was studied first, for which we have the example which is our ideal example which we have already considered, gallium arsenide with aluminium gallium arsenide, where gallium arsenide is having a lower band gap when compared to aluminium gallium arsenide. So when the heterojunction is formed, we get electron trap in gallium arsenide. That is, quantum well is formed. And here in type 1 superlattice, the minimum of conduction band and maximum of valence band of one semiconductor which is having lower band gap, and in this case it is gallium arsenide, lie inside the energy gap of other semiconductor which is having greater band gap. So if you consider the quantum well, this is representing the conduction band and this is representing valence band. White lines represent conduction band whereas blue lines represent valence band. And these are the minima of conduction band. This is for gallium arsenide and this is for aluminium gallium arsenide, minimum of conduction band, whereas this is the valence band maximum for gallium arsenide and this is for aluminium gallium arsenide. Here we are having energy gap of gallium arsenide which is smaller when compared to energy gap of aluminium gallium arsenide, and we can observe here the minima of the conduction band and maxima of the valence band of the semiconductor with lower band gap, that is gallium arsenide, lie inside the energy gap. So energy gap of aluminium gallium arsenide varies from this point up till this, and the energy gap of gallium arsenide is lying in between this energy gap. So if superlattice is having this type of structure where the energy gap of one semiconductor is in between the energy gap of another semiconductor, then we say it is type 1 superlattice. And here these are nothing but the quantum wells where electrons and holes are trapped. So the potential well for both electrons and holes is formed in one of the materials, that is in gallium arsenide, which is having lower band gap. So this is about type 1 superlattice. Coming to the second type, which is type 2 superlattice. So what actually is the difference between these two? Here example is indium arsenide with gallium antimony, and if you just consider with respect to energy gap, the difference is that in this class of compositional superlattices, the minimum of the conduction band of one semiconductor, that is indium arsenide, lies below the maximum of the valence band of the other semiconductor, which is gallium antimony. So if you consider this as your conduction band, and these dotted line just represent the valence band. So dotted line we have used in order to differentiate between conduction band and valence band for the simplicity. And here we can observe that the minimum of the conduction band, which is denoted by white line, lies below the maximum of valence band of other semiconductor. So the maximum of valence band is somewhere here, but the minimum of conduction band of one semiconductor with smaller band gap lies below this maximum of valence band. And here we can observe that both the maximum and minimum of the bands are not separate, and for such case we say it is termed as type 2 superlattice, where the potential well for electrons is not in the same material, and the hole potential well and the electrons and holes are actually separated in real space. So here distinction can be easily done because potential well for electrons is not in the same material as the hole potential, because here electrons are trapped in indium arsenide. So potential well of electron is in indium arsenide, whereas the holes will be trapped in the another semiconducting material, that is gallium arsenide, because if you just invert it you can observe that this part is acting as a well for holes. So holes will be present here and electrons are present in indium arsenide. So this is the difference. In type 1 superlattice we will be having electrons as well as holes in the potential well of same material, but in type 2 superlattice the electron trap and the hole trap will be in two different semiconducting materials. So this is the main difference between type 1 and type 2 superlattice. Then coming to the second type, that is superlattice due to doping, which is called as doped superlattice. And in the doped superlattices there is a periodic alteration of thin layers of gallium arsenide of N and P types, separated in many cases by layers of intrinsic gallium arsenide. So here there will be again periodicity, and periodically thin layers of different materials are going to be there. And if you take the example of gallium arsenide, then we are having N type as well as P type. So if you dope gallium arsenide using silicon, then we get N-type semiconductor, and if you dope it with beryllium, then we get P-type semiconductor, that is P-type gallium arsenide. And these N-type and P-type semiconducting layers will be separated by intrinsic gallium arsenide. So first N-type semiconductor, then intrinsic layer, then P-type semiconductor, again intrinsic layer. So this is forming NIPI structure. That's why it is referred as NIPI structure or NIPI structure. Because if you are considering single semiconducting material, that is for example gallium arsenide, when you dope it with certain pentavalent impurities, we get N-type gallium arsenide. Again next is intrinsic, that is gallium arsenide. Then P-type gallium arsenide, which is doped with trivalent impurity, and finally again intrinsic gallium arsenide. So this type of structure is going to form doped superlattices. Again we observe the periodic alteration of thin layers. So these are the types of superlattices based on composition and doping of the layers. Now in order to understand the potential and density of states, let us consider type 1 compositional superlattice, that is gallium arsenide with aluminium gallium arsenide superlattice. And for a lattice matched gallium arsenide and aluminium gallium arsenide superlattice, the effective potential in the growth direction, if you consider growth direction is along z-axis as seen by the electrons, can be well described by the Kronig-Penney potential. So we have already studied about Kronig-Penney model in quantum mechanics, and the same thing, or even in condensed matter physics we come across it. And the same thing can be utilized in order to understand the potential for superlattices. And the potential for superlattices along z direction, because growth direction we have considered as z direction, we say that potential will be equal to V naught for z lying between A and A plus 2B, and it will be equal to V naught when it is lying between minus of A plus 2B and minus A. Whereas if z is in between minus A to plus A, then it is equals to 0. So if you consider the multiple quantum wells that is representing the superlattice, we have considered gallium arsenide with aluminium gallium arsenide superlattice. So quantum well is formed in gallium arsenide, whereas barrier is with respect to aluminium gallium arsenide. So along y-axis we are having the potential of superlattice and growth direction is along z. So the extent of quantum well we are considering from minus A to plus A, and totally we can say that the length of the quantum well along the growth direction is plus A, that is equal to 2A. If you just consider with respect to the magnitude, because minus represents the negative direction and positive A is just with respect to positive x-axis. So totally this extent or length of quantum well is equals to 2A, and the length of the barrier, let it be 2B. So what does this function mean is that if z is along this axis where we have represent z, and if z is greater than A and less than A plus 2B, because this is again 2B. So A plus 2B will be coming under aluminium gallium arsenide. So here the potential will be equal to V naught. So we can observe that is nothing but the potential of the barrier which is formed due to aluminium gallium arsenide. And again potential is equals to V naught if Z lies between minus A to minus of A plus 2B. So again it is neighboring of gallium arsenide, which is aluminium gallium arsenide. So using Kronig-Penney potential we can understand that within the quantum well we are having zero potential, because it is defined as 0 for Z in between minus A to plus A. So within this we are having zero potential, whereas outside the quantum well we are having potential equal to V naught. And using this we can just find out an exact solution of Schrodinger equation using the Kronig-Penney model, which can be easily obtained. However, this doesn't lead to simple expressions for the eigenvalues as well as the wave function. Eigenvalues and eigenfunctions are going to be very complex, but just the potential function can be easily understood using the Kronig-Penney model. And finally, coming to the density of states of a superlattice, that is the band structure of a superlattice can be obtained most simply in the tight binding model using effective mass theory. And using these model and theory, easily we can plot the graph for density of states as a function of energy. So for three-dimensional electron system, we are having a parabolic nature, and if you consider quasi two-dimensional electron system, we have the step type nature based on the step function, and the superlattices will be of this kind. So this is the nature of density of states as a function of energy for superlattice. So in today's class we discussed about what actually you mean by superlattice, what are the different types of superlattice, and in different types of superlattices how the conduction band and valence band are located, based on which we are going to define the potential well, and finally we understood about the potential using the Kronig-Penney model, and easily based on that we can just express the eigenvalues and eigenfunction, which is actually not necessary because of its complexity. And finally we studied about the density of states function for superlattice. So this is about today's class, and in our next class we will be dealing about quantum Hall effect. Till then, study well. Thank you.